All right, we're gonna start in a few minutes, but I just wanted to mention that I think this is really gonna help people because we all need to have some guidance, and today, AI is powerful, but it can be confusing. So I think there is a need for you know creating some kind of a map, or even better, a GPS or global positioning system, so that you know exactly where you are, and therefore you can take the right step. And I think it's really going to help people. So I call this the AI money GPS, and I'm going to go very slowly, step by step, to show you how you're going to make money, and how I've made money, and how I plan to make money. So I guess the first step, you know is, and these are like milestones, if you will. The first step is that you have to um, start prompting. Okay, like of course at the beginning you're not going to be very good, but you're going to improve very quickly as you get feedback from ChatGPT or any language models that you're using. So start prompting, and we're going to say uh, it could be ChatGPT, it could be Claude. It depends on what you prefer. It could be Gemini. I think these are the three main large language models. So it's really up to you, but you have to start prompting. And you know what? I'm gonna use boxes to show that these are milestones. So I guess the second milestone, I'm gonna put it up here. It could be, I guess, let me see. You're creating maybe an ebook. And don't worry, I know that it's not easy to create an ebook. I'm just putting it out there as a milestone. So we're gonna look at the steps that will, allow you to proceed. Uh, and I'm just gonna put this guy over here, and you just start prompting. It might not look like a lot, but it's your first step into a much larger world. So you start prompting using ChatGPT, Claude, etc. And you play with it, and of course at some point you want to get to the target, which is an ebook. An ebook is probably the easiest because it's just text, right? You can just ask ChatGPT. I'm going to provide the prompts later on, but you choose a topic and you ask ChatGPT to write the 10 chapter headings and so on and so forth. But it's not just an ebook. You have different choices. Like if you like to produce videos, then you can say create a video course. So that's another option. A third option, which typically it's more demanding, is a web application. So a web app, it's a software that runs on the internet. And so it depends on what you're really interested in. And so you have a lot of options. And you have these large language models. So these are basically the three major milestones. And so once you have these products, I'm going to put them at the same level because they are what we call like digital products. And I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so I'm just going to put it here. And so you have here digital products, and these are just the three that come to my mind. You can have many different types of digital products. So I'm gonna use a rectangle to represent these digital products, and I'm gonna use the color maybe green. And so you have to start prompting. Like if you don't start prompting, if you don't practice prompting, then you cannot really create these digital products. Okay, so what's happening after that? Well, you have to monetize these products, right? And so we have a second layer. So the first layer, I guess, is the product layer. So this is where you're creating all of these products. You know what? I'm just gonna and so we're gonna move. Wait. Yeah, I'm going to reduce the size of everything. Wow, that's really cool. Okay, so this is the first layer in green, and you need to have a second layer, and that could be your market. So these are the people who are likely to benefit from your product, and so you have to do marketing. So creating a product is one thing, and bringing it to your target market is another thing. So I'm just going to copy. And for each product that you create, whether it's a web app, an ebook, or a video course, you need to target a specific audience. And these are the people who have a need for your product, and they have a budget for it, right? Like, you know, they must have both. So here we're going to say target market. Let's call it target market 1. And here we have target market 2. So these are two different markets. And here we have target market 3. They're different because, you know, people who use web applications might be different than people who love to read, and it might be different from people who like to watch a video course. And so after you have these products, you have to do the marketing. So this is innovation. I'm just going to put it here. So this is the innovation part. You have to innovate. In other words, you have to create something of value that is new and that solves their problem. And here you have to do the marketing. So these are the two things that you have to really practice if you're going to make money with AI. But as you can see in this GPS map, I show clearly where you are. So, you know, we can even put a number, you know, so that when I talk about it, it's easy to refer. So we can say that number 1, you have to start prompting. And number 2, you know, we're going to go with something easy. Number 2, you have to write an ebook. An ebook based on your expertise, your specialty, your profession, your success, etc. 3 will be the video course, and 4 will be the web app, because web applications tend to be more complex. And so, you know, this is step 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, of course, between step 1 and step 2, you have intermediate steps. And so we're going to call them like 1.1, 1.2, etc. But these are the steps, you know, and then the next step is you have to bring these products to your market. And maybe at the beginning, you're not going to charge money. Maybe just give it away for free just to get their feedback so that you can come back and you keep improving your product. So here I'm going to put this arrow that goes from innovation to marketing. Okay, so marketing here, I guess, whoops. Two, three, four. No, actually, you know what? Like, depending on what product you choose, it's always going to be step number 2. And step number 3 is you do the marketing. So I'm going to put 3 here to indicate that that's the third step. Now, of course, it looks very easy, right? But, you know, in between these layers, there's a lot of stuff you need to do. So to make it more visually consistent, I'm gonna say here, you know, whoops, when you learn to master prompting. So I'm going to put here start prompting. Actually, it's not start prompting, it's learn and master prompting. I don't mean master like, you know, you become like a black belt or anything, but, you know, you become proficient in prompting. You know exactly how to speak to a large language model. So that's layer number 1. I'm going to have to give it some kind of color. So we're going to put maybe this orange color. And number 2 here, we're going to put it in black because you're not making money yet, but you're getting serious, right? And then green, that's where you make money because you're bringing your products to the target market. Okay, and that's it, guys. That's what you need to do to make money. It's really not hard. So now that you see the overall logic or procedure or process, now we can start talking about, the details involved in, learning and mastering prompting, and then creating products, and then marketing those products to your specific target market. Now, people, to me, this is a straight path forward, but it doesn't mean that people will take the straight path. Like you look at the arrow here, it looks like it's very straightforward, but actually it's not that straightforward. So I'm gonna talk about all the issues or the obstacles or the distractions that people might come across to warn you, against those distractions. Because to me, like, you have to innovate. You have to create a product, not a service. It has to be a product. But that's just my particular approach, right? I just want to preface this by saying that if you find a way that works for you, right, like you create a service based on AI and it fits you, it fits your lifestyle, more power to you. Like, don't listen to me. It's just that I'm aiming to become a billionaire, right? So, and for that, I need to help people to become millionaires. And I don't think that you can become a millionaire when you offer a service, because when you offer a service, it's limited by your time, right? But when you create a product like these products, you upload them on the internet and you could be making money even while you're sleeping. And so for me, innovation is about creating products. And here we have marketing. And after that, after you create a product, it's much easier to do the marketing because you can actually hire people to do the digital marketing for you. But your job, I think your main job, your mission impossible, I'm just kidding, it's not really impossible, is really to innovate. This is where you have to focus all your efforts, because learning how to do prompt engineering, there are so many resources online for free. You can learn prompting, no problemo. But innovation, that is tough. Like, should you create an app? Should you write a book? Should you, create a video course? Some people even decide to write like a novel, which is fine, like a novel, and then in PDF format or whatever. So there are so many products, but you have to create a digital product. That's non-negotiable. And after that, you can market that product. So let's take a look at how we can predict the mistakes that you're likely to make, so that we can, kind of try to avoid those mistakes. So instead of going upward here and create a product, many people might be tempted because that's how they've been trained their whole lives, right? They're not thinking in terms of products. They're thinking in terms of a service. And so they're creating a service like this. I'm going to put it like that. And this is a service that they're creating, whether it's consulting, or whether it's a webinar on, I don't know, prompt engineering, a webinar on whatever. But the point is that they're creating a service and they're making money. So I'm going to put here, they're creating AI based service. So for example, you could become a copywriter, and you interface with the client, and then you use ChatGPT to create copy and content. But because you're a good copywriter, you can supervise the large language model so that the output is good and satisfactory. So you could be a copywriter. And you're offering this service because your clients don't know about copywriting. So even if they could access ChatGPT, they wouldn't know what questions to ask, right? Because a good copywriter will have the framework. We're talking about frameworks like ADA, or problem, agitation, solution. There are like tens, dozens of frameworks that copywriters are using, and so you're offering a service, copywriting, but it's not a product. But still, you look at the arrow here, it's still going up, right? So it's not going straight up. You're not going to have a product, but at least you have a service, and you're using AI to help you. And so you're not really doing all the copywriting. The AI is going to do 80%, and you're just doing the top 20% of the copywriting. So anyways, that's a service that you could offer, and a lot of people do offer that kind of service. Or you can wait, let me see, am I still, oh, I'm not within the bounds. Okay, sorry, I have to zoom out because my OBS studio, okay, copywriter. So I just want to make sure I'm within the bounds. Okay, so you can offer a service like copywriting, or you can offer a service like Zoom webinars, where you're teaching people how to do prompt engineering, etc. So service is good, and these are two examples of a service. But what you want to do eventually is really go straight up and create a product, and these are the digital product that you can create. And so guys, that's it. You just have to figure out, where are you now? Are you at that stage where you're learning about prompt engineering? And you know what, like, I just want to be complete. There might be an earlier stage. I have to be realistic. Like, not everyone is at the stage where they're learning and they're mastering prompting. So let's not assume anything. We could say that a lot of people are at the stage here where they're not even learning how to prompt. They're scratching their heads and they're wondering, what the hell is AI? And that's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't be embarrassed. So it's at level 0 where people are asking, what is AI? And some people will even have, and I'm not judging them. I mean, every perspective is valid. Some people might even say that AI is negative. It will destroy jobs. Okay? And that's okay if that's your opinion. Or some people might say AI is, destroying trees and wasting energy and, convincing people to commit suicide. And this is real. I mean, I don't want to, make light of this. Like, there's a teenager, I think, who was convinced by an AI to commit suicide. So there are real harmful effects, like on the climate, it's wasting energy, water, etc. So a lot of people are in that box here where they don't know enough about AI. They haven't tried it, but they have negative views about AI, which is why I'm going to put it in red. So they're in the red zone. So, we have to help them to, come to terms with AI. AI is not 100% positive. There are negative aspects to it, and we have to be conscious of that. We have to be sensitive to, to people who have those views. Like, you might have friends or family members who are in the red box here, and so if you want to help them, just present them the facts, because the news media likes to talk about negative and sensationalistic news items like this, destroying trees and water and committing suicide. But eventually I think you can't fight AI. It's here, it's going to stay. So hopefully the people who are in that level 0 in the red box, hopefully they will get to a point where they're moving here and they're trying ChatGPT, and then they're at level 1 of the game of making money from AI. So once you're at level 1, then you can try to move to level 2, and eventually you get to level 3 here. After that, it tends to be easier. And so how can I, yeah, so after you do remarketing, then there could be a 4th level. I'm just gonna draw it here. A 4th level would be something like you're actually running a real business, because here, don't forget, you don't have a business really. You just have a product and you have a target market. But the next level, in my opinion, is when you're building a business around your product and your marketing. So here, let's put it in blue. Okay. And here we can say building a business, like a real business, So that, I guess that's the last level. You're building a business, and once you have a business, you can hire employees, you can have more free time. But that's the level 4, I guess. Now there are different ways to play this game. Like when I say innovation, it means that you have to create value. It doesn't necessarily have to be one of these formats, like a video course, ebook, web app, or a novel. So I'm going to talk about how I do it. So maybe it's going to give you ideas. I'm currently at that innovation level right here, and what I do is that I'm just going to erase this, is that I'm creating a membership site called myfellowcanadians.org, and it's going to offer all kinds of courses that relate to career, work, business, finance, for $10 a month. So it's like Netflix. So this is a membership site, and we're going to charge $10 per month. That's $10 Canadian, by the way. So it's probably $7 or $7.50 US. So $10 a month. Or for people who want to save money, they can just pay $30 for the whole year. Wow, that's great value, right? Because instead of paying $10 a month, which comes down to $120, you're paying $30. So you're saving $90. So that's the way I want to do it. And at this My Fellow Canadians membership site, we're going to have video courses, video tutorials, we're going to have ebooks, business documents, PDFs, we're going to have web applications, we're going to have source code, we're going to have resellable goods, meaning that you buy the book or the video course and you can resell it to anyone, and you can pocket 100% of their profits. And we give all of this value for only $30 for the whole year. So this is the membership model. And one of the great advantages is that when we charge $10 per month, we are motivated to always upload new content, new value, because we don't want our members to cancel their membership next month, right? And therefore, charging $10 a month, it kind of forces us to keep developing new content. But if we were to write an ebook, we sell it for $30 and that's it. We're not making money anymore. But here, we can charge per month. But during the introduction phase, the launch phase, we're making a special deal, $30 for the whole year. But after that, it's going to be $10 per month. The $30 per year is not going to be available. So this is only available for limited time. And my premise is that it's going to be challenging for us to get the first 1,000 members, but after that, I'm hoping to get the 40 million Canadians, 40 million plus. I think we're 42 million Canadians. I want all of them to join. So when you multiply 40 million Canadians by $30 a month, that comes to $1.2 billion in revenue. And the way we're going to attract people, because I really don't want to do the marketing, because here, notice that we have the marketing here. The marketing we're going to do is going to be strictly affiliate marketing. So affiliates earn $10 per new member. So whether it's a Canadian person or a non-Canadian, it doesn't matter. Every time that they bring us a $30 membership, they are making $10. And this is it's all run professionally through the website Gumroad, which is a platform for e-commerce. So this is how we're going to do our marketing. So in fact, our affiliates will do the marketing. And so we're just going to focus on creating value over here. All of the value will be inside of a portal. And when people, join for $30, they have access to that portal. So that's just a quick review of how I'm developing My Fellow Canadians for 2026. And I'm going to outsource the marketing to affiliates. And so just so you know, and of course over time in 2026 we're going to build a business, except that My Fellow Canadians is not really a business. It's more like a social venture, but it's like a business. So we're going to build a business. And so that's what I want to share with you today. It's a very simple diagram. Here you might have negative views about AI. You don't have all the facts. You just have the sensationalistic news items from newspapers and news sites. They like to be negative, right? But then your next step at level 1 is you actually have to learn how to do prompt engineering, and after that you have to actually create a product that you can sell. You can create a service too, but that's really short term. You can't really create a business when you offer a service. There's no way. It's very difficult, because not only do you have to build a business, but you have to offer the service. So that's an impossible situation to be in. In contrast, when you create a product, then it's going to sell by itself, right? Because you just upload it, and then you have time to build your business. So there you have it, guys. This is a comprehensive GPS system, so to speak, that shows you step by step. So step 1, the orange rectangle. Step 2 in black. Step 3 in green. And that's it. All right. Thanks for being there. And